Okay, you ready? So who do we have here? Starting on the left.
Yeah, Nathaniel Davis.
All right.
And Mazie Davis Price.
And
Hazel Davis.
okay. And if you guys don't mind, I'd like to find out when you were born, how old you were, how old you are, and that kind of thing. You ladies, I know how sensitive you are, that kind of thing. But if you don't mind, starting with you, Hazel.
Start with me. I was born in 1931. I'm 82 years old. And
Where were you born?
I was born in Wheeler, Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And Mazie Davis Price. I was born July 14, 1938, and presently I'm 75 years old.
I was born in 1933, September 25th, and I'm now 80 years old.
Okay. So all three of you all were born in Wisner, Louisiana.
Right.
So back, I think my math is right. That's during the 1930s, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So what was Wisner like in that community in 1930?
I can't tell you because I left there. My dad moved from there when I was 6 years old. And I don't remember too much about it.
Where did you move to?
Down a place called Junks, Louisiana. Junks.
Where's
We
Junks?
lived between Faraday and Clayton.
Okay, what was Junks like then?
Just a country. Just a country.
Y'all was out in the country?
Out in the country.
Ah.
Yeah.
And Hazel, how long did you live there in Junks?
In Junks, I lived there until I was about 15, and I left there and I went to Faraday. Yeah, I moved to Faraday.
Okay.
And I left Faraday and went to Monroe.
And you're about 15 when that happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mazie, so you and Nate, what was Wisner like? Or that, well, actually it wasn't Wisner. What's that community called out there where you guys live?
On a break.
On a break? What was that like?
On a break, back then, well, it was more a lot of community. Everybody that lived there was of a gene smart, and my daddy, mama was living on Grandpa's place, which is about a block apart from each house. And I lived there. That's the only time I can remember. But I was born at Grandpa's house out there on the front. So I don't know how to describe where that is, but it's Grandpa's house on the front.
And how long did you live there?
I lived there until I was 4 years old.
You remember that?
I remember, only thing I remember how I used to get on my hands and put my feet on the wall. I can remember that. I remember coming on a wagon at 4 years old when we moved to where we stay at. Where
The old house is now. Okay. How about you, man?
I was born at the old house spot. And I remember the community, but it's farming areas there, past the, but I can remember Mount Green them down the road, Canancy, Consunny up above us, and going on down on that Jennings place. Wasn't called Jennings place then. Well, George Brass and all the older head lived, Sissy. But I remember the farm area.
Okay.
Strictly farm, fields, and on the back had Uncle Levi and all those.
So you had a lot of relatives.
We had
in
a
it.
real,
family.
it was a big community.
Yeah,
there.
a lot of family. So Hazel, did you often visit up to see your Uncle James, and any of those people? How often did you see them?
I did when I stayed with Grandpa.
Okay.
When I stayed with my grandfather, I used to go over there sometime, and then sometime we'd stay at home because he told us to stay in the house. And that's what we did. We listened to Grandpa.
So how old were you when you stayed with him?
Oh my gosh, I don't hardly remember. About, I guess I was about 5 years old.
5 years old. You in Lottie Seal?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else was there with you? Just him and
Uncle Prince.
Okay. So how much older was Uncle Prince than you? You think?
I ain't done my math on that one, but let's see.
Was he the big boy, or was
Yeah, he was a big boy over me. You know.
So he kept you guys? He kept you?
I guess so, because when he left, excuse me, when he left and moved to Monroe, Then me and Lottie Sil was there just by ourselves.
At home by yourself. So what you
Grandpapa,
guys?
Grandpapa would go to town, up in Wilson all the time, and he'd stay all night.
So y'all staying at home by yourself at nighttime?
Yeah, it didn't matter.
5
Leave
years
the door
old?
Wide open. leave the door wide open and everything. Look, we was okay.
And so
Nobody bothered us.
so he just told y'all to stay at home.
Yeah,
Don't leave
we
the house.
stayed in the house.
So what does he do during the daytime when he come back?
Well, I don't remember the days what we did, but
And what did he do?
he did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I was too little to remember that.
Okay, but did he at that time you don't have diapers or anything like that? You had to be changing
No.
How'd you all eat?
We fixed our own food.
At 5 years old? Because she was 7, I guess.
Yeah,
She fixed her own food.
Yeah, she cooked food for us. But until Prince left, Prince used to cook for us.
Ah.
Yeah, Prince
Okay.
would cook for us. He'd take us out to the lake, and we'd get in the boat, and we'd go all over, get them chinky from side the river. We get those, whatever they call chinky.
Crawdad?
Huh?
Chinkies.
Chinky.
That was for
Nut,
fishing?
some kind of nut.
Oh.
We had a nut, and then after that, he'd get up in the salmon tree and shake salmon down for us. He did.
So he was a big help. He was a big cousin to you
Yeah.
guys.
He was a
No,
big
that's an uncle.
I mean, uncle, I'm sorry.
He
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
big uncle to us. And we cried when he left.
What?
We didn't know where he went, but we cried, you know.
Where did he go? Went to
To
Monroe?
Monroe, St. Lucie. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he went to his sister.
So how long did you stay with Grandpa?
Oh, wow. I can't remember when we left there.
Maybe
That's why we called him Papa George, because in Eunice them, they used to tell us, here come your Papa George.
You call Grandpa Papa George?
My dad.
Oh, Papa George. Okay.
Yeah, when he came to get us.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got
when
you.
Papa George came to get us,
That's what
I
they
was
was
a little thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you don't remember how long you lived with
I
him?
don't remember how long we stayed
But-
there. We there.
Hazel, didn't you have an aunt living in Winsboro?
And Lizzie?
Yeah, Lizzie.
But she's not on the David side.
I know that, but did y'all stay with Aunt Lizzie?
No, I stayed with my grandmother.
Oh, okay, I didn't know her, but I know you had cause Maxine know your aunt
Yeah, she did.
that
She
lived
know-
in
Yeah, because she
Winsboro.
was there.
That's your mama's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't know
She
your
was
mama.
the baby sister, the baby girl of all of them.
So how did you get along with Grandpa? Did he ever spank you or anything like that?
Never.
Never?
Spanked us.
Never yelled at you or anything like that? Oh, that's great.
Never.
So all right. Okay, so y'all have a more
We have
memorable.
one of the things I remember about Grandpa. You know, I didn't just take what my grandpa said. So my dad, they worked in the field. So it was so many of us. We stayed around the house, right? And when Grandpa told us to do something, we challenged him.
Yeah.
So this particular day, I can remember I challenged him, and he took me in a tree, and he hung me from my feet up, and my head was down, and my legs were crossed. He locked my legs like that, and the kids were screaming and hollering, and so they went down to get Daddy to get me. So Daddy told Papa, take that girl out of that tree.
How old do you think you were about that time?
Well, I guess I was maybe about 5, 6, maybe 7, something like that.
So Nate, you were born in 1933, right? So
Right.
Grandpa probably around 50, 60 years old when you were born, right?
I guess so. I guess I used to know.
He was born like 86 and
Yeah, I guess.
1886 or something like that. So
Yeah, I guess so. 'Cause I know how the difference me and Daddy, because Dad born 1910, 33.
Yeah.
Dad 23 years old when I was born. So I don't know what Grandpa is.
So how did you relate to him? Did he?
Grandpa and I were pretty good until Grandpa would ask, and I'd tell him what Mama said.
So what do you mean by that?
You telling me?
Mama told us don't bother that food until I come. So that she cook a food and he could go in there and start getting some food, and I said, Mama said, and then he would get mad. Bless your soul.
But you know, one of the things I remember about my grandpa, he loved the little kids. You know, the babies. Like Eunice, and he was, I don't know, he and Jean had a relationship,
Yeah.
my sister Jean,
Yeah.
but he loved them babies, and he would come from town, and he have it tied, I saw Eunice doing a lot of that tying up stuff, he would have it tied up in a rag, and he'd pull it out and he'd give it to me, and even when Eunice was born, he would, he would take out time for, bring us
Did you
something.
know him?
I don't
No,
know.
Eunice-
she
Eunice-
never
Eunice
know.
wouldn't know.
Did you know him?
I can vaguely remember him. He was 10 years old when he passed.
You were 10 years old?
I was 10 years old. Yeah, I can vaguely. I remember the times he would come back, because a lot of times he'd come back, he was pretty
Yeah.
tipsy. He was pretty
Yeah,
tipsy
yeah,
when he
yeah,
come
yeah,
back.
yeah.
I remember people saying, don't bother,
Right
don't
out,
bother.
yeah.
So what did he look like? What did Albert? What was first off? What was his name?
With my picture.
Albert?
Albert what?
Albert
Day. D-A-Y.
D.A. Albert Day. We won't get back to that. But what was his physical features?
He was he looked like a old white man to me.
That's exactly
yeah,
right.
like an old white
Yeah,
man.
because,
Yeah,
I
he
was
could-
coming from school in Wisdom, and he was sitting by this store, right? And he looked like he was drunk or something. So I said, "There's my grandpa." But she said, "Girl, that's a white man." I said, "It's not. That's my grandfather." I said, "It's not. That's my grandpa." When he saw me, "There's my baby." That's what he called me. His baby.
Yeah.
That's right. I said, "You see, I told you he was my grandfather."
Did he ever say anything about his parents or?
Clarence, he used to talk when he was sick, and at that time I had finished college and I was back home, and he would talk to me. But you know how people talk, and you just tune them out.
Yeah.
But he told me that his daddy was a white man.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and he. But you know how you kids, I didn't value that history. Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah.
Did he say anything about
He
it?
never said anything about his wife. He never said anything about Grandma Nancy to her. But he tried to tell me about his people and where he came from. But
Did he say anything about his mother, his mama?
No, he never said anything about his mom.
And I had heard, and I don't know how true it is, say Grandpa, Mama was half white,
His mother.
and Grandpa's daddy was a white man.
Yeah, that's that.
So Grandpa was 3/4 white, because he looked like a white man. He had straight hair, hard beard, and I'm telling you, you couldn't tell him from a white man if you didn't. And when he went to wash up,
when he cleaned up.
get that tobacco stuff out of
He
his
didn't
beard.
have to clean up. He looked like a white
He
man.
did, but he had that, in his beard, he had that tobacco. He used to chew that tobacco in that beard where he hadn't shaved, and he want my daddy to shave him. So when he got his face really clean, he was just like a.
Yeah. So Hazel, do you remember how your daddy and your grandpa got along? How did they get along?
They didn't.
They didn't get along?
No, they didn't get along. He didn't get along with his father at all. That's why he left home at 16. My father.
Why do you think they didn't get along?
I don't know, but I know they didn't. He told me they didn't.
How about your dad? How did he get along with
They got along, but he didn't like for daddy to tell him anything.
That's got to be. That's
Yeah,
what
he
my
didn't
dad-
like for daddy to tell him anything. I remember they had they probably can remember the story better than I can. They had a pig. I don't know if they raised the pig together or whatever happened. But then somehow daddy killed that pig, and he didn't tell him. And he got hot. and daddy was telling us, "Well, Papa, you wasn't here, and it was a time I had to go ahead on and do what I had to do." And he said, "Confound your soul! I picked this iron up and I'll bust you in your brain." He said, "No, Papa, you won't bust me in my brain. No, he just kept his head steady." But he had a temper on him.
Yeah.
He had a temper.
Yeah, but he took some of that meat.
Yeah, he
Cured-
did.
cured
To
to
put
all.
on that hog and put that. You know how you put that. It was a sled. They made a what you call a sled, and he put that mule, horse or whatever it was, and took it over to his house. Put that meat on there. So he didn't. Daddy let him take his meat and take it on over there.
But don't you think he had a lot of patience with him though?
I do.
Well, Dad, oh yeah.
And I don't
tell
think
Daddy
that's
till he
him.
make him hot, till he make Daddy mad.
Yeah.
And then when Grandpa see Daddy angry, Grandpa kind of
Back off.
back off.
Yeah.
But my dad ain't had no patience with him.
Sure did,
Didn't have it.
Jordan.
No,
Jordan.
No, he was too hot-headed
No.
himself.
But Jordan and Daddy, boy, they could sit down and look
Yeah.
like
Just
they
and
could
they say a word every 15 or 20 minutes.
That's right.
And they look and say, "What you think about that?" I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they just sit there and look. He said, ask them why. I said, why y'all just sit there? He said, just being in his presence, in my brother's
Yeah.
presence.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's my brother. My
Yeah.
brother.
Brother.
My brother. That's from Georgia.
So Hazel, you left Louisiana when you were, from Fairleigh at 15 years old. Then where did you go? You went to Monroe? Okay.
Monroe.
Did you ever live with your aunts, Eunice and Lucy?
Yeah, when I came out here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
When I came out here.
Okay.
But I lived with them in Grandpapa's house.
Oh.
Yeah. I
Okay.
lived with them before they left home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I remember Lucy going to Wisner and a lady named, I forget her name, but anyway, they went and brought us some little stuff back, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
I was about 6 years old, or
Okay.
five, about 5. Yeah, because I wasn't going to school.
Okay.
5 years
So
old.
they lived out there
They
near
lived in there, yeah,
by
they
your
did.
uncle
Uh-huh,
James' house.
They did.
So did you know
I knew
Mandy?
Aunt Mandy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember when she passed, the wagon came and got her. They wasn't doing embalming then.
Huh.
You just buried him.
They just had their funeral and burial.
How old was she? You think?
I don't know.
How old were you at that
Oh,
time?
Aunt Mandy was, I think, 15 years old when she passed.
15?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she wasn't that much older than you then, huh?
Yeah. No, she was, because I was just 5 years old when she
Okay.
passed.
Okay, but she was about 10 years older than you. Okay.
Yeah, but she passed and the wagon came and got her. And
What did they take
we
her to?
didn't go to a funeral, but I knew Aunt Frances. I went to Aunt Frances' funeral and they had to lift me up to look in the casket
Huh.
at Aunt Frances. Yeah.
Wow. So Aunt Frances and Aunt Mandy. Neither one of these ladies were married then. They were
Oh
too young.
yeah, Aunt Amanda was.
She was married.
Yeah, I saw her husband in Oakland, was in Oakland. When I came out here, he had another wife, he had remarried. And he had about 5 kids or 6.
What was his name? You remember?
Ah, wow, Uncle Jack?
You don't know his last name, huh?
No, but he been gone a while.
Huh. And so who did Frances marry? You know who her
I
husband?
don't remember her husband's name. But she had a child, 1 kid, and it died.
Frances did.
Yeah. That's the hard thing.
Huh?
None of the girls, I remember having
She-
kids. And
she-
Eunice and Lucy. And
Well, Aunt Frances had
yeah,
one,
but
she
you know,
died.
they didn't live because I didn't know that. But none of the girls, all the boys had children.
Ain't that something?
But one thing back to my daddy, I remember him telling me that he learned a lot of things from his mama. His daddy would leave home, so
Okay.
he
That
would
sounds-
cook for the kids. She showed him how to sew, you know, how to patch pants.
Right.
Yeah, so he and his mama
Were fairly
were
close.
real close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Hazel, so you like 5 or 6 or 7 years old, and then you went to live with Aunt Eunice and Eunice. So did you ever know that Grandpa had a job? What did Grandpa do?
Oh, I knew he went to Wisdom. Lay down guy with the women.
But he stayed with a lady, what's her name? Sister Brass lady. I don't know her name now, but that was his hangout place.
Dow Brass.
Dow Brass,
Wife.
Bertha.
Okay.
Bertha Brass. And that's what he did.
He had never, I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'll never remember Grandpa having do no work. He always been old folks pension or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the only way he
And
ever.
my dad used to say he'd go and get the women his money.
Yeah.
But he always said, way back then, he always got a check from that first of the month. Now, how he got that, I don't know.
I don't know
That's
either.
all.
That was
Because
old
he
folks'
was
pension?
white.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Which-
why.
for
Hazel
me-
said, because he was white, that's how he got
That's
it.
why he got it, because he was white.
But back then, that's 75 years ago, he was getting that check on every first of the month.
You sure?
And he always gave Bertha, if he was on that break, he made sure Bertha got some of that money. Got to give Bertha whatever he gave. But she took care of it, but, you know.
Did he give now, how often did he come out to the house and stay out to the house?
If he came, he didn't stay on long, maybe 4 or 5 days. He stayed on a long time.
Yeah.
Until he got ill.
Until he got sick. When he got
Yeah.
sick, he stayed
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But he didn't listen to no doctors.
So Hazel Mice, these guys about the Wilford side now. So who was your grandfather on the Wilford side?
A tone with her.
Okay. And what was he like? And particularly from his features, what kind of features did he have? Was he a big man, short man?
No, he was kind of a medium-sized man.
Yeah, Ed about the size of Ed.
Yeah.
Which is about 5'10", 5'9",
Ed about
5'9".
5'8", 9", somewhere along there about Ed. Yeah, but I always remember Grandpa being by that height.
And what is his facial features?
Grandpa.
If you
I think maybe about like Hazel
Kids-
complexion.
Yeah.
With some straight hair, you know, like Indian stuff like that.
Oh,
Because he had some Indian in him, some.
okay.
And but Grandma Nellie was a big lady.
Yeah.
Really?
A Lucy's built. She was built like a Lucy.
Yeah.
But a Lucy wasn't as large as she was.
She was tall too?
No,
Oh,
Lucy's smart.
No, I'm saying, well, she was just
Yeah,
wide.
but
She was kind of a
who you know by the size of
She wasn't.
Lucy made look bigger. Lucy made something like
yeah.
Okay.
something like that, but
a
bigger.
little taller too.
Look
And her complexion was what?
She was brown, brown
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
By
She was
mama's color.
And she was a brass initially, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. So did you guys ever spend any time out there with Grandpa Tom? His name was Tom Whiffer.
Right. Yeah, I used to. My mama washed his clothes for him. That was her thing. She washed his clothes, and then we had to take him in that hot sun. We had to take him out there to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we took him out there to him, we didn't have us, but he would sit down. He had a special chair that he would sit in. So we'd sit in one of those other chairs, and he'd tell us the story of, different things. He'd go on. And he had that sing in his voice that made you want to go to sleep. You know, somebody telling you something, and you get sleepy.
Nice.
So did you remember Nellie before she passed? Y'all
I
spend any
remember
time
her.
next
Grandma?
to- Yeah.
Oh yeah, Grandma Nellie. Oh yeah. When Grandma Nellie passed, she the same year, 1950.